Hey YouTube, it's Bodge in the Woods. Back after his attempted JMT through hike. I want to go ahead and get this out of the way as quickly as possible so I can get into a little bit of a review of the things that worked for me on the trail, also the things that didn't work. I just wanted to say we did not make the entire through hike. Coming over Selden Pass at about mile 103, my son Joseph that was hiking with me tore his right quadriceps. And we had to basically limp him down the mountain for about 15 miles until we got to Muir Trail Ranch. And we were fortunate that we were able to hike to a nearby lake, Lake Florence, caught a water taxi there to the other side of the lake, caught a hitchhike there from the end of Lake Florence down to Fresno, California, met a wonderful couple, Mark and Jamie Strickland, who gave us a ride down and invited us graciously to spend the night with them. And Mark gave us a ride on into the Fresno airport, and we rented a vehicle from there, drove to LA, and flew out of LA about a week early. So got about 93 miles left of the JMT. Very disappointed that we didn't have a chance to finish it. We were doing really well, about a day and a half ahead of schedule. We had really truly gotten our trail legs and had become acclimatized, and really were starting to conquer the passes. We were averaging, even the first 3 days, the really brutal days, we were averaging a little over 19 miles a day. So we were well ahead of our 15.7 per day schedule, and felt like we could summit Whitney probably maybe a day, if not 2 days early. But at any rate, didn't get a chance. We will hope to, at some time in the near future, go back and finish that last 93 miles. But I did want to say a couple of things about the trail. Some things that, quite frankly, I didn't anticipate. One, we were there July the 25th, basically through August the 1st, and I will say that from Yosemite all the way down to Muir Trail Ranch, it was hot. Very hot in the Sierras, even at elevation over 11,000 feet, it was still in the high 80s. We did get a couple of afternoon thunderstorms Wednesday and Thursday of that week that cooled things down a little bit, but the temps at night were in the mid-50s probably, maybe the high 40s for the very lowest. I took a 0-degree bag, or my 0-degree quilt, didn't need it. I easily could have gone with a 40-degree bag, probably shaved off another 6 or 8 ounces from my pack weight, but at any rate, I didn't expect the temperatures to be that warm, so just kind of plan accordingly. I know that trends can change, weather trends can change overnight sometimes, but I would have, if I were preparing for the hike again, knowing what I know now, I wouldn't take anything anything more than a 20-degree bag, and maybe even a 40-degree bag. The other thing, did not anticipate. I did a lot of training for this trail. I've done a lot of hiking in the mountains of the east coast of the U.S. The Sierra Nevada mountains, especially the passes, are much more difficult than I expected. A lot of long climbs. Your typical climb is going to be 5 to 7 miles. Even though there's switchbacks there, the switchbacks are still pretty steep. The first day coming out of Yosemite, we literally climbed for about 12 miles over Sunrise Mountain. One of the most, if not the most difficult hike of my life. So just prepare accordingly. One thing that I would do, probably if I had it to do over again, maybe I would have sent a resupply to Tuolumne Meadows instead of trying to carry all 7 days of food from Yosemite all the way down to Muir Trail Ranch. That first day, it's a tough hike. We did make 19.3 miles that day, but we were exhausted. And as I said, we were really prepared physically. We'd done a lot of training for it. But another thing that I really wasn't anticipating, I didn't get nearly as much sun as I thought I would for my solar charger. In retrospect, kind of wish I had left my solar charger at home and maybe taken a little bit larger battery bank. I did get about 3 charges on my battery bank from the solar charger, but they were just minor charges. I never really got a full charge on the battery bank, and I'm sure it's just because it was cloudy, but also we were in trees a good bit. I didn't expect to be in trees as much as we did, so or as much as we were. That's one other thing. There's one other thing I wanted to say also. Surprisingly, we did get a little bit of cell service, a lot of cell service in Yosemite Valley. In fact, our cell service continued from Yosemite Valley kind of all the way to the top of Sunrise Mountain. We did lose service pretty much after that until we got near Tuolumne Meadows. Picked up a little cell service there, and then we also picked up cell service again near Red's Meadows. Now, other than that, no cell service, but I was a little surprised that we got better cell service than anticipated. A couple of things that I took with me that kind of wish I hadn't taken that really weren't effective for me. My Tuolumne inReach SE was virtually ineffective. For some reason, I could not get it to pair with my phone. It had paired fine. I'd sent multiple texts when I was on the East Coast, but when I got out there, I couldn't get it to pair with my phone, and I could not get text to go through from the device itself. So, a little concerned about that. But I suspect it's just one of those issues that I'll just have to resolve if I ever do it again. The other thing, my Z-Packs Arc Haul backpack, I had just gotten about a week and a half before I left. The pack is extremely lightweight. It does weigh about 24 ounces even with the hip belt pockets. But the pack is a little less substantial than I'd hoped. In retrospect, I had said a couple of times on the trail that I wish I'd taken my Osprey Atmos 50 AG. That little pack's just a little beefier. Frankly, the Arc Haul is just so lightweight. Sometimes I felt like it was fragile. And one of the hip belt pockets, even before I left Yosemite Valley, had torn. And I was a little disappointed with that. Now Z-Packs, of course, is sending me a replacement pouch on that, but I didn't quite get the performance out of that pack that I had wished for, especially since it was so expensive. And I did get the lightweight, and it did accommodate my Garcia bear canister just fine. It fit in there with 7 days of food, or actually I was carrying lunches and snacks. My son was carrying our dinners and breakfasts, but everything that fit in there fine. The pack has a lot of pockets, and I actually upgraded it with the hip belt pockets and with the chest pocket, but again, just not quite as substantial a pack as I would have hoped for. And I was at about 30 pounds of my first day. That was the heaviest I was, of course, with 7 days of food, maybe a little over 30 pounds. And with a couple of liters of water, I pushed it up to 31 or 32. It was never really uncomfortable. It just wasn't nearly as comfortable as my Osprey is. So I think, again, as I said, if I had to do over again, or if I do go back and finish the other 93 miles, I would definitely take my Osprey with me. The only thing I don't like about my Osprey pack are the hip belt pockets are so tight, but I'll probably upfit it with maybe a couple of shoulder strap pockets and should be just fine. But at any rate, other than the pack and the inReach, everything else worked great. My Big Agnes Copper Spur UL2 worked perfectly. The tent's lightweight. It's easy to set up. What I had hoped for was that I'd be able to leave the rain fly off and see the stars at night, and for the first 3 nights we were able to do that. There was absolutely no chance of rain. So we left the rain fly off, and we had beautiful views of the night sky, that Sierra Nevada night sky, through the tent itself. So I was really pleased with that. No problems, no issues at all with that Copper Spur, and I'll definitely keep that tent and probably take it on other hikes where I won't be going back to my typical routine of hammock camping. But at any rate, love the Copper Spur. Of course, my hammock gear 0 degree bag worked perfectly. It was just too warm. I've got other hammock gear products, and I really like their products. Pleased with that. I really did like my Petzl E-Light, the little headlamp. We didn't do any night hiking, but in camp, it worked out just fine. It illuminates just fine. It's got multiple settings, especially the red light setting. I was really pleased with that. My Lecky Quantum trekking poles worked out great. They were good and lightweight. I had no problems with those whatsoever, and I was able to stuff them inside my pack and put them inside a bag and send them through luggage with the airline without any problems. So really had good service out of those. One other thing I did take with me that I, in retrospect, didn't need were my winter weather gloves. Never really got cold enough for those. Oh, the other thing I loved were my sun gloves. They were absolutely worked out perfectly. I'd recommend highly you take a pair of sun gloves with you. And also the t-shirt that I'm wearing now, this Mountain Hardwear Wicked tee, the quarter zip worked out great for keeping the sun off my arms, but also for keeping the mosquitoes and biting flies off. Mosquitoes were bad. I met several folks that have done a lot of hiking in the Sierras over the years, and they said that the mosquitoes were the worst they'd ever seen them. But at any rate, good times. I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and I'm going to try to insert all the video clips that I took from our 7 days on the trail. Maybe a little long, but I think it's just going to make it flow more readily. We had a great time. I really, really, really hope we get a chance to go back. The Sierras are otherworldly beautiful. I know that you've seen plenty of videos from folks that have posted their JMT through hiking videos, but you really owe it to yourself at some time to try to get out to Sierra Nevadas. Even if you can't do the whole JMT, get out there and do a couple of section hikes and just enjoy it, because the scenery from the tops of some of those passes is just the most breathtaking I've ever seen in my life. Well, here I am, Friday morning, July the 22nd. It's about 4:16. I have cleared security check at the Charlotte Douglas International Airport, heading down toward gate B17, getting ready to begin my flight to Oakland, and ultimately my destination is Yosemite National Park for my JMT 2016 through hike. Bonds in the woods, looking forward to it. Well, we just entered Yosemite National Park, and we are really excited about being here. We've got about 11 miles into the valley, but so far the scenery has been pretty, but I'm expecting it to be pretty spectacular shortly. We're going to travel through the tunnel in about 5 miles, and then we'll have tunnel view shortly after that. So looking forward to it. Everything's going well so far. It's been a nice tour. We're on Starline Tours. We actually have taken the Gray Line Tours bus out of San Francisco. It's been about a 5-hour drive, but it's one bus, one way, a pretty informative tour guide, pretty enjoyable tour guide. I'll speak more about that when I review it online, but we're getting closer. Yosemite Falls.
Falls is thinning out a little bit because of the summer. Usually it's roaring down, but that's Yosemite Falls right there on the left side. Beautiful Yosemite Falls. This valley right here, you can actually walk from here, from where we're going to stop. You can walk up to this valley here. We're going to go up to stop 7, which is, stop number 7 is directly on the left side behind those trees.
Well, here we are, Monday morning, July the 25th. It's almost 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Here we are at the trailhead to the Happy Isles Trail. Going to head up the John Muir Trail. Joseph, of course, is adequately pointing it out, just like any good weatherman or woman should. Took us probably a mile down from the backpackers camp, so you know, when you're including your estimates for mileage, add that extra mile to it. Beautiful morning this morning, nice breeze blowing, probably in the mid-70s. We're looking forward to a beautiful day. This is the thing that we've been working and waiting for a long time. A lot of planning, a lot of prayer, a lot of prep have gone into this. We'll update you as we go along. Vernal Falls. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful morning. Unbelievable view. Looking back in the valley. Decent little climb to this point. Gotta keep going. Here we are at the top of Vernal Fall. Falls are flowing beautifully. We're a little concerned there would be much water, but there's plenty of water. Tell you what, you had to earn that 2-mile hike. That's probably the toughest 2 miles I've ever done. But we're here. More to come. Here's our first bear of the trail, everybody. Can you see him moving around? Well, here we are at the top of Nevada Fall. Flowing smoothly this morning. Absolutely gorgeous view. Tough hike to get here. Good climb out of the valley. I'll give you a little panorama here. Right here on the back side of Half Dome. We're going to pan through the valley. Get a thumbs up from Joe over there. More to follow. We're not exactly sure where we are. We're definitely looking across the valley. Cloud's Rest is over there. Half Dome's behind us. We're approaching 10 miles in our trek today. Whew, it has been all uphill. Tired. Looking forward to getting to Cathedral Lake. Anyway, back later. Here we are on the backside of Sunrise Mountain. Probably the most difficult time in my entire life. Such a difficult climb. But we're over it. We're hoping it's either ridge walks or downhill until we get to Cathedral Lake. We're tired. Spirits are high though. Back later. This is the Meadow just before Sunrise High Sierra Camp. I believe there's Cathedral Peak over there in the distance. We think we've got probably, 4.5 miles to Cathedral Lake?
How many?
4.5, 5?
Oh.
Anyway, having fun. Made some friends. Life is good. Later. First view of Cathedral Lake. Boy, are we glad to see it. That's Cathedral Peak in the background. We have no idea what the mountains are off in the past, but we're not climbing those. Later. Well, here we are at the Tuolumne River. We just had a wonderful breakfast at the Tuolumne Grill. Not a whole lot of resupply there. At least nothing that we needed. We're having a tough time finding 4-ounce fuel canisters. We're hoping Reds may have some. Yosemite Valley had none. So, this is Tuolumne Canyon, I suppose. Tuolumne Meadows. This is the Tuolumne River. We're about 24 miles into our hike. Having a great time. Talk to you later. Well, this is Lyle Canyon. Just before noon on Tuesday. I'm pretty leisurely hike this morning, but I'm still tired. Don't know why. I guess because we're going 8 miles.
Get yourself in
To remind you that we're still together. Having a good time. More later. Well, we think this is the Lyle Fork River, which will lead into the Tuolumne River. We're in the Lyle Canyon, we know that. This is what we're looking up at. Yeah, another gorgeous shot. They were the first deer in the wild. We saw a lot in Yosemite Valley. It's the first one we've seen since we went on the trail. We are approaching Donohue Pass.
Lyle Canyon's a lot longer than you think.
Lyle Canyon is probably a 7-mile long canyon. We've been in Lyle Canyon most of the day. More to follow.
Alright, so this is Joe filming in place of Bodge in the woods. I go by the Aryan, I guess. That's the name I'm going to give myself. And we are on our second day. And we are going up Donohue Pass. And against my father's wishes, really, I'm kind of showing you that you don't have to always be going at a monstrous pace. And if you're going slowly, it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It doesn't mean that it's too hard. It just means that you're going slowly. In particular today, what we've done for this pass, and actually Sunrise and all the passes yesterday, you hike until you get a shady spot, you rest. You hike until you get a shady spot, and you rest. And soon enough, you gain elevation. And you get there. We're gonna make it.
Here we are, top of Donohue Pass. Officially ending our trek in the Yosemite National Park. Starting in the Ansel Adams Wilderness in the Inyo National Forest. I'll give you a view from up here. Actually, you can't see it. Most of the view is beyond that little ridge that we just climbed. Came across our first snowfield. We didn't have to actually traverse it, but still snow up here. We're probably what, 10.5?
Probably, maybe a little higher.
It's beautiful. Oh my gosh, we are above tree line now. It is otherworldly beautiful.
Do not underestimate Donohue Pass.
Do not underestimate Donohue Pass. We started this thing at about what, 2 o'clock?
Yeah,
Way too late in the day.
Actually, no, 2:45.
2:45. We're way too late in the day. We're very tired, but we made it. Now we're gonna go find a campsite. God is good. Bye. Donohue Pass again. Yeah, you've seen that before, I know. But look at this. Is that not spectacular? Hey there, Jojo. Wonder what the Whitecap Mountain is way back there. Here's our first view of Thousand Island Lake. Mid-morning. All right, it's Wednesday morning snack break on the banks of Thousand Island Lake. There's a banner in the background, Ritter just to its side. There's the lake itself. Let me turn this thing around, I'll pan it for you. What do you think, Jojo?
I mean, everywhere we go, it's just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
We counted, there's 667 islands, just FYI. I'm actually joking. I didn't count. Ruby Lake. Yet another gorgeous alpine lake. This is Garnet Lake, just like Thousand Island, absolutely spectacular. Look at the mountains, Banner and Ritter on the backside. Loving it. Red's Meadow Resort. This was our brief respite. Spent about half a day here. Had a good long breakfast and a good long lunch. Ready to hit the trail back with a lot of energy. Good food here. Service spotty. The food's great. Back on the trail Thursday afternoon. Later. Still climbing out of Red's Meadow. 5 miles into this climb. Tough climb. But here's the view you're rewarded with. Spectacular. More later. We got a storm brewing over the mountain. It has cooled things down a little bit on the trail. First time we've been cool since we started this hike Monday morning. Thank you, Lord. Loving it. We've got a tarp, just in case. Later. Thursday evening. We had another tough day, but I'll tell you what. We haven't gotten our trail legs yet, but it's getting a little bit easier. We're just learning to understand that these passes take a long time, and you just have to hammer them out one step at a time. But anyway, Thursday night, we pushed all the way through. We didn't start Thursday until about lunchtime because we stayed at Muir Trail Ranch and had breakfast and lunch there. But pushed out just before noon. Got here. I'll show you our campsite in just a second. This is actually Lake Virginia. I can't imagine a more beautiful spot to spend a Thursday night. Let me show you. Campsite's out. I'm sorry. This is Lake Virginia. We're at about 10,300 feet here. You can see the panorama. These beautiful granite mountains. And our campsite's up there. That grove of trees shaded. It's really windy today. A thunderstorm came through, cooled things down dramatically. Also cut the dust down. Boy, it's been so dusty and so hot. Thank the Lord for this little thunderstorm that came through. So we're going to have dinner in just a little while, hunker down, try to get some sleep tonight. More later. Top of Silver Pass. Looking back on Silver Lake. Valley behind us. Dang, another tough pass to climb. But that one's behind us. Now we got about 5 or 6 miles downhill, thank the Lord. Then we got to decide what we want to do. Thinking about the possibility of going into VVR or continuing on, hit MTR sometime tomorrow. Whew. Man, these passes are tough. Every time you think you're through with one, you just keep going. I'll show you the view from the backside. You can't see it yet, but Lake Edison is down there somewhere. Lake Edison is one of the largest lakes in the Sierras. A good portion of it's dried over the last few years, but it's still a large, deep lake. We're down in that valley. Just somewhere we haven't hiked yet that we have to go. Alright, later.
Virginia Lake this morning, weren't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the shuttle from Edison Lake over to Vermilion Valley Resort. Looking forward to it.
Thunderstorms.
Yeah, that was good.
Beautiful mountain views.
And snacks and that was great. That's good.
Yeah. Just started Yosemite?
Saturday, July the 30th. Came out of Vermilion Valley Resort this morning. What a wonderful place. I'll tell you more about that place. If you ever hike in the JMT, be sure to stay there. They love hikers. Food's delicious. This is, we're about maybe 4/5 of the way up Selden Pass. This is Marie Lakes. Beautiful little Alpine plateau up here. We were at about, what, 10,500 feet, Joe? Beautiful. We're tired, but loving it. Bye. Yet another spectacular view coming out from Selden Pass. Unbelievable. This is the 4th lake we've passed in what, the last 2 miles? Wow. Well, I've got some bad news. We've had to come off the trail. Coming over Selden Pass last night at about mile 102, Joseph tore his quadriceps. He managed to limp the last 17 miles until we got down to MTR, and they told us about this shuttle over to Lake Florence, which is going to eventually get us back to civilization. Hopefully going to let us get back to LA maybe sometime in the next couple of days. So, our JMT adventure for 2016 is over after literally 117 trail miles. Been a beautiful time. Beautiful, beautiful views. It's a little hazy today because of a local forest fire. This is Lake Florence. We came out of MTR early this morning, hiked about 8 miles to get to the ferry, and the ferry brought us over. We're going to go up to the store, try to find some transportation into some community. There's poor Joe over there struggling along, bless his heart. He was a trooper, didn't complain at all. Anyway, the new adventure begins, getting to LA. More to follow.